All you sports fans out there, and welcome to the Hot Seat Sports Talk. Who's that?
Is that Chris Higgins?
Oh, wow.
No, it's Eric.
Welcome back. It's been
Hey,
a
guys.
long
What up,
time.
dude?
It's been a very long time.
Well, we're glad you're back.
He's famous now, guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
He doesn't need us in his life anymore.
No. So, all right, let's start out with the 4-minute offense, and I will start off with the opening topic. Can the Lions and Browns somehow make the postseason? The Lions have a chance. A slim chance, but they have a chance. They need a lot to happen.
Oh, yeah.
They need to win out. The Vikings got to lose out. The Panthers got to lose a game. Bucks got to lose a game. Packers got to lose a game. And the Redskins got to lose 2. It's definitely possible for Detroit.
The biggest thing for Detroit is they have to win out. That's the hardest thing for them. I don't know if they can win out to do this. If literally every team in the AFC North keeps losing, the Browns could somehow make it, I don't even know what I'd do. I'd go shirtless, run down the street and belly flop in the near snow pile. I see if it's snowing.
I mean, it's all kind of just coming down to anything could possibly happen. If Lions win out, Cleveland could win out. Anybody could win out. Anybody could lose out. If somebody loses out, that's going to be pretty major on just their franchise overall. If they win out, there could be potential to go somewhere.
Oh, yeah, they definitely have a chance. So, best rookie quarterback for this year and why, I'll go Baker Mayfield.
That's a good pick.
Just the way that he's been playing, the way that he's trying to transform Cleveland from a losing team. Well, they had Hugh Jackson at the beginning of the year, which wasn't great, but he's turning the tide in Cleveland, and they're looking good.
I mean, I agree with you, but I'm just going to say a different quarterback just to mix everything up. Lamar Jackson,
Okay.
second half season is looking pretty good, even though he can't really throw the ball, but he can rush a lot, and almost because of him alone, the Ravens offense are averaging over like 200 yards per game rushing. That's amazing.
Patrick Mahomes.
He's not a rookie.
I know, but hold on. Patrick Mahomes, I know he hasn't really been talked about much. This is a legitimate question. When Kareem Hunt left, was there anything on his reaction towards that?
Nope.
They didn't even
Nothing?
talk about it.
Nothing.
Okay, that was just something that came to my
It was
head.
more
real
Andy
quick.
Reid than any of the other Chiefs players.
That was just something that came to my head real quick. I
Oh.
just didn't want to forget it. I do agree with you on Baker Mayfield.
Oh, yeah.
100%. He's making some big plays for Cleveland.
Oh yeah.
And
Wasn't even supposed to start because Tyrod Taylor was there. That's
True.
even
True.
crazier.
Oh, yeah.
Made
So,
a big comeback off the bench to a starter.
Oh yeah.
lead it off. Next one.
This could be another disappointment for the Eagles. Carson Wentz could be out for the season once again because of I believe, fractured vertebrae in his back.
Ooh.
So we don't know for a fact yet if he's out for the season, but if he is, it's definitely not going to look good for the Eagles, even though basically this season's been a letdown for them. Reigning Super Bowl champions. What are they,
Super Bowl
6 and
hangover.
7? Yep, Super Bowl hangover basically. Looking like Dallas is leading the division, but this is just always huge. Even though Nick Foles is good, but I think this is huge for Eagles fans.
It will have a big impact, but Nick Foles backup,
Yes.
That's huge for them.
he did show up in the Super Bowl, and kind of
Winning it.
playoffs. Yeah,
Winning it,
Yeah.
yeah.
all that.
Here's my take. Same team. They have another weapon in Golden Tate. Same situation, but their record has suffered. They have suffered before. I
Yes.
don't think Foles can do that much damage control. He can't shift it like Carson Wentz built up last year. He can't carry them into the playoffs. They won't even make it.
A lot has to
in my
happen.
opinion. So that's just.
I feel like it was a lot of everybody was studying Carson Wentz and that offense, but then when Nick Foles came in, nobody knew how to defend it.
That's exactly it.
Exactly. And then the last one, the Miami Miracle. This past Sunday and what it means to me. All right, here's Cade. Congratulations, Miami. You had one of the biggest walk-offs in league history against New England. Great win. You're 7-6. You're not going to do that much after this. Minnesota's going to beat them this week. They will be lucky if they win one of their last 3 games of the year.
Bill Belichick basically played himself, leaving Gronk on the field.
Gronk
That just
came
shows that
back.
he can outsmart himself, even in Miami. If they have the players to win, but it's just tough for them to. I agree with you. I don't really see him going too far. Maybe playoffs, if a lot has to happen for that too, but
Yes.
It just shows that Patriots can mess up too.
At first I saw this and I thought, there's no way he's going to make it. He doesn't have a chance. There's way too many guys back there. Kenyon Drake gets the ball, makes one little cut, and it fooled everybody, and he got
And there was
outside.
one huge block from the offensive lineman.
Major block.
Major block. You're very important offensive lineman. Remember that.
Yep.
That shows the hustle that was there, too, from
Oh,
the
yeah.
lineman.
You need to win.
Yep, you can even linemen are catching touchdown passes now.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Nowadays.
Praise you, Chicago.
Just ask Chicago and Detroit on how that goes. So, just like I said last week, it's time to go bowling.
College
It's
bowl
time to go
season.
bowling. Like that. Not like this, but like that.
Oh, sure.
Too far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it says it on the sign.
Yeah.
So, let's start off with the minor bowls, and we'll make our way up to the big bowls.
All right.
So, we're going to start off with the Raycomb Media Camellia Bowl. Okay,
These names always amaze me too, by the way. Just,
Yep.
oof.
They're just all sponsors, but let's go to Montgomery, Alabama on this Saturday, December 15th. Eastern Michigan against Georgia Southern. Well, obviously Eastern's been playing well enough to make a bowl game.
Oh, yeah.
Georgia Southern, it's, I don't even, not 100% what conference they're even out of.
You don't hear
But-
too much about these teams.
But just because it's our own Eastern, I'm going to give it to the Eagles.
I'll give it to Eastern.
Eastern.
And then the obvious famous Idaho Potato Bowl
Oh, yeah.
on December 21st. Western Michigan against BYU.
I mean, BYU can always look like a good team. And in
They
Western,
beat Wisconsin this year.
Yes, yes, they did.
That was good.
Western's not having the biggest year as they did with Corey Davis when they had him, so
They went all the way to the Cotton Bowl, but they're playing in the Idaho Potato Bowl, which is always a famous game, especially on that blue field.
I'll give it to BYU.
Aww.
Sorry.
I'm
but
sticking Western.
Yeah, I'll go Western as well. So, the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl.
love the names.
December 22nd, Houston against Army. After Army beating Navy last week,
Yes.
we were upset that you weren't here because I know you like to talk about that game a lot.
Yes, I do.
Army looked good. They look really good. But Navy, it's kind of like Michigan, Ohio State. They both of them, no matter what their records are, they come out and they play like have 2 losses or 1 on their record.
Mm-hmm.
And Army got the better of them, and that's why I think Army will have this bowl win.
I'm picking Army.
I'm going to pick Houston on this.
Boo.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so new era Pinstripe Bowl, or just the Pinstripe Bowl. Wisconsin against Miami. Start off with you.
Surprisingly, Wisconsin was not the champion of the Big Ten West. I want to throw that out.
Surprisingly.
And Miami does not have the greatest defense as
They did
the
before.
era of the turnover chain. But, I mean, you can never really look down on Wisconsin. They always have great sports programs, so I'm going to give it to Wisconsin.
I like Wisconsin. They
Wisconsin.
represent the Big Ten out of this one.
I agree with them for once.
Yeah, the Camping World Bowl. Syracuse against West Virginia. Okay, committee, what are you doing putting West Virginia in a game like this?
What's wrong?
Seriously, they had a great year, only losing about 3 games. Two of them to really good teams, 2 Big 12 teams.
Oklahoma, I know that.
Yep. And you put them in this bowl? Why don't you put them in the Sugar Bowl or the Outback Bowl or something instead of Camping World Bowl? Just because I hope West Virginia just goes out and just destroys Syracuse.
But
They
here's
will.
the thing, Will Greer is not playing in this game.
It
'cause he's
doesn't
preparing
matter.
for the NFL draft, and that's huge for
True.
them. That's huge for them because their whole offense basically revolves around him. So
Well,
I'm not going to be surprised if Syracuse wins, but I'll give it to West Virginia.
I'm going to go with West Virginia.
all right. AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Missouri, Oklahoma State.
I mean, Oklahoma State's always been a shootout team, basically.
Yep.
They're
And
amazing.
Missouri's always been struggling
yeah.
to survive, but they survived enough to make a bowl game. But I don't think it's going to be enough against a Big 12 team. The Big 12 against other,
Teams.
against SEC, even against Big 10 teams, it's unbelievable what the Big 12 can do. So Oklahoma State, I like.
Me too.
Oklahoma. Yeah.
State. Or Oklahoma's later. Don't worry.
You know what I mean.
Don't worry.
You know what I mean.
Don't worry. The Gator Bowl, presented by TaxSlayer.
All
NC State against Texas A&M.
Texas A&M is a good team.
They are a good team.
I like
Yes.
Texas A&M.
Offensively, they're a good team.
Oh, yes.
Defensively,
That's where the offense comes into play.
They've got their ups and downs. Every team's got their ups and downs, but
A&M I like.
A&M.
Texas A&M.
Yep. And then the last game on one of the last games of 2018, the Red Box Bowl.
Red Box, that's still a thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's still
Wow.
relevant.
Very surprised.
Michigan State against Oregon.
That'll be a good game. If their quarterback.
State hasn't played Oregon in a few years.
It's been a while.
And when State did play Oregon, it's when we had the likes of Darian Harris and those guys on that team. So, in terms of Oregon, Oregon's had, as we talked about, up and down.
Mhm.
State struggled this year.
Very.
It all depends on who starts at quarterback for State, who starts at running back for State, and who starts at punter for State too, because that can make a difference in these type of games as well. But in terms of this game, I got to go State.
I'll go State.
Home State.
All right.
Michigan State.
Home
Yeah.
State.
The Sugar Bowl, one of the classics of the year, one of the New Year's Six. Georgia against Texas.
I really like this matchup,
Both losers of their conference championship games.
Yes.
but still amazing teams.
But Georgia's got the upper hand.
Texas.
Why?
Ben.
Wow.
I'll go Georgia on this. Jake Fromm's a phenomenal quarterback.
Just the way that Georgia handled Alabama through
Huge.
3 quarters
They almost
was
won.
great. Texas didn't look like they could compete with Oklahoma.
Gut feeling. I'm picking Texas for sure.
I can see that happening though.
Okay.
I can see it happening.
Okay. And then the second game of the new year, the Citrus Bowl, Penn State against Kentucky. Kentucky, another riser in the SEC. Penn State, pretty good solid team out of the Big Ten. Penn State has had a great year. Kentucky's had a great year. In terms of this, I got to go rep the Big Ten and go Penn State.
I'm kind of feeling a little bit of what Eric felt. I had just a good feeling that Kentucky's just going to surprise everyone and beat Penn State.
I'm still going to stick with Penn State on this one.
I don't know. It's weird.
Interesting.
It's always that one game I don't
You
know
just
which
know.
way to go. I just kind of have a feeling.
Well, this is the game that I feel like it's the
yeah.
Outback Bowl. Iowa against Mississippi State. Sorry, Big Ten, you're going to get a loss here. Mississippi State will win this game. Just like the SEC Big Ten competition, the SEC wins this.
I don't know. Just Iowa can always be that dominant team. You always miss. Even though they had their struggles, they can just reel it back in and win. So I'm going to give it to Iowa.
I'm gonna go with Iowa.
And then the almighty Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
College football playoff.
No, it's not a playoff.
Playoff game. It's not?
The Peach Bowl? No. That is not. Michigan against
Oh,
Florida.
never mind. Looking at the wrong thing.
Well,
Never mind.
here's my thing. If Michigan loses this game, that's it for Harbaugh. It is. They had the biggest game of their program going into Columbus. They get killed by Ohio State, and then they will go into this game. They will lose this bowl game, and the entire season is ruined for Michigan. I'm going with the Gators.
I heard Harbaugh say that they are going to stick with them, though. That's the thing. I don't know if he was just saying that for media or if he was actually told that he's going to stay. But I wouldn't say it's a whole letdown if they lose. Well, I mean, they almost made the playoffs, but they can just never beat Ohio State. But I'm still giving it to Michigan.
Michigan, no question.
And why?
They're just gonna win this.
That's good.
By how
They're
much?
just gonna come out. I give them 14, 2 touchdowns.
Wow.
It's just gonna come down to, all right, they know this is a big game. They know that they've lost the other big ones. This has to be the one that they show up
I
in.
believe this is a rematch of last year. Am I correct?
From a bowl game.
Didn't they play them last year?
Yes, they did.
Because
They did, or 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
It was
they
either
did.
last year or 2 years ago, and they got destroyed by Florida.
2 years ago
Oh,
because
yeah.
they had
Yep.
Jake Butt out and Jabril Peppers out.
Oh.
Yes.
So, and then the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl, Louisiana State against Central Florida.
Out of these two teams, which one has been undefeated for the past 2 seasons?
Central Florida.
Central Florida. That's wow. Because of this, I believe there's talk about expanding the college football playoff.
Yes,
And
there has been rumors about it.
because of that. And I feel like if they
8
win,
teams.
yes, 8 teams. instead of 4.
Oh God, would that be awesome?
That'd
I
be
like it.
Oh
And I
God, would that be awesome?
feel like if they win this game, it's going to make the conversation possibly more of a reality. So I want to see USC
Well, here's
win this.
the thing. Why did they do this?
UCF.
Why didn't they do this the first year? Like they tried it with 4 teams just to see how it would work. The first year it came out with the college football playoff. Then after how good it and the success it was, how come they weren't? The committee wasn't like, let's expand to 8.
Because they
They
were already
wait-
okay with 4. They didn't want to have everything be changed after how much was just of a success
They wanted to
4
see-
teams were.
But wait until if they change it to 8, how big of a success it'll be. Imagine all the media attention, the money, and the fans. Imagine that.
That's why I think discussions are going more in a positive direction now than it was
Yes.
before.
Oh yeah. But in terms of the Fiesta Bowl,
Yes.
it's time for Central Florida's run to come to an end.
Oh.
Louisiana State will win this game.
UCF.
That'd be really cool if they win that.
Interesting.
Another one
Yeah,
of
we-
those gut feelings they're gonna stay wherever they are.
Yeah.
On top.
And next week we will go over the Final Four for college football. But those are just the basic bowl. Those are just the regular bowls. College football championship we'll go over next week before we go on break. And after college, it's time for football. It's time for National League. National Football League Week 15, which no more college football on Saturdays,
Darn.
which means there's NFL on Saturdays now.
Yes.
So, we're gonna go about 20 seconds per game for each of us, and for our locker upset, it's about 30 seconds apiece.
Sounds good.
All right, here we go. I'll start off, and each of us are gonna rotate by calling out games. So let's go. Houston is going to New York. They're at the Jets. Houston's been playing great, even though they had a hiccup against the Colts. I still like Houston. The Jets haven't been playing that great of ball. I like them on Saturday afternoon.
Sam Darnold looks like he may not be playing this game, and Josh. Who's their backup, Sam?
Josh McCown.
Josh McCown.
There we go.
He's not looking
He's
too
gotta get
hot
it.
when he's playing. And Houston, even though they had that loss, like you said, they're still a great team. I'll give it to Houston.
I'm definitely going with Houston. JJ Watt, gotta get going again.
Their whole defense is
Yeah.
amazing. Everyone's stepping
That's-
up.
I haven't heard
Pretty much I'm going.
Vadian Clowney's name at all this year.
He's just silent. He's just a silent,
Yep.
basically killer.
Yep.
Gets him. All right, next game, we have the Cleveland Browns, who are
Seven.
having a pretty good season, going to Denver.
All right.
And, well, I mean, if Philip Lindsay plays, he's always a beast. But Cleveland, they're looking pretty good with Baker, and then throwing it to Jarvis, he's looking okay. And their duo of running backs, Chubb and Johnson, is just, man, I don't know. To me, this game could be a toss-up because the spread's only 3 for Denver.
Yep.
So it's a very close game. So I'll just give it to Cleveland.
For this one, I'm liking Denver. Lindsey plays,
Yep.
it will be a big impact. I'm liking what Baker Mayfield's doing. I'm liking Jarvis Landry. I'm liking Nick Chubb. But it's another one of those feelings. I said I was going to give Cleveland 5.
They have 5.
They got their 5. I feel like this is going
It's
to be
awesome
it.
for them,
Yep.
honestly.
All right, here's for me. I like Cleveland in this one because Denver last week, where was your defense against San Francisco?
They
You
had
let
a bad
George
game.
Kittle run all over you for about 210 yards,
He's a
4 yards shy of the
beast.
tight end record. That is terrible. Their offense couldn't produce against a terrible San Francisco defense. Lindsey had a great game, but Lindsey can't carry that entire team. Denver has no receivers, barely a quarterback, a good running back, barely an offensive line, no defense. Cleveland wins this one and keep their playoff hopes alive.
Next, we got Miami, who is at Minnesota.
Miami 7-6 coming off the miracle, and Minnesota
6-5
coming off the
and 1.
loss off of Monday night.
6-5 and 1.
I feel like that miracle for real just gave them a ton of momentum coming into their next week. It is Minnesota. Minnesota's a tough team to beat.
At home.
Here's the thing:
For sure at home.
Detroit fans have to root for Miami this
Miami.
week. Yep. And because of that, I like Miami.
Yep.
And I think Miami's just has barely enough momentum to carry it over. I don't know how much it will, serve to them. But Minnesota, Cousins doesn't look right. Cousins doesn't look right. The running game looks a bit off.
A little bit.
Your Cousins is targeting Adam Thielen, their best receiver, in the fourth quarter. Are you kidding me? That's not good at all. So I like Miami in this one.
I mean, what you said right there, that's why I think they're going to fix this and beat Miami, just because they have
Whoa.
pretty much two of the best receivers in the league, Thielen and Diggs. And I'm pretty sure once they see how badly they've been playing for the last couple of weeks, they're going to fix everything and beat Miami and basically get them off of their momentum. Because Minnesota's a great team. Oh my gosh. I think Minnesota's going to win this. At home for sure, that's huge for them.
All right. Normally, I would normally say all three of us ready. Let's announce who we're going to take. But now, since Oakland's coming off a very impressive win over Pittsburgh last week, I know that's got to make you a little bit hurt, but
It's because of a kicker slipping. How can you stop that?
well,
Or stop that from happening?
Well-
Jeez Louise.
well, Oakland's got Cincinnati this week. Cincinnati has they proved they can hang. They hung around with the Chargers, but the Chargers again they're here and there. They're here and there. So, in terms of this game, it's really close. I like Cincinnati just because of their ground game. Joe Mixon is going to have himself a day against the Raiders.
You explain my reason. I'm going Cincinnati.
I mean,
Pretty
yeah.
much covered it with there, Joe Mixon.
Oh yeah.
Even though they still beat the Steelers, Oakland's still pretty buns this season, so I'm going to go with Cincinnati.
All right.
And then we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to Baltimore to face Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. The
Well,
spread is -8
well,
for Baltimore.
after Lamar Jackson had a little hiccup at the end of the game at Kansas City, took him to overtime, ended up losing. RG3 came in, for a long time since we saw him in a game last. It's with Lamar Jackson back in the lineup. Tampa Bay looked like they were in control against New Orleans, but they fell, and New Orleans won the division. We'll get to them in a few minutes. But Baltimore just looks good. I think they finally figured out a winning system in Baltimore. I like Baltimore this week. Not as my lock. I just like them this week.
I mean, Joe Flacco looks like he could be coming back. There's a discussion about who's going to be starting at quarterback. In my opinion,
If they want to keep winning, keep Jackson.
Lamar Jackson, yes. If he can learn how to consistently throw the ball, oh my gosh, that team could be very deadly coming next season. But for now, I still think they can be pretty deadly, so I'm going to pick Baltimore.
I'm definitely going with Baltimore. They need Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
As much as
He's a
Lamar
mobile
Jackson is.
quarterback.
It's huge in this kind of league now.
Yep.
Oh yeah. All right.
All right, and then we had the Dallas Cowboys at the Indianapolis Colts.
Well, if Indianapolis wants to keep their playoff hopes alive, they have to win this game. Dallas is looking really, really good, but I really think Andrew Luck's going to keep it going. I really do.
I like
Especially
that he's
they're at home against Dallas. The crowd's going to be fired up. There's going to be a good atmosphere for the Colts. Luck's going to throw for 3 touchdowns, get back in his groove, and one of them will be to T.Y. Hilton, one will be to Ebron, and one will be to Mack.
I don't know about all that,
Boom.
but I like that Andrew
Boom.
Luck is back.
Help spread the wealth around it if you're in the fantasy playoffs still to this point.
I do like Indianapolis. I'm liking Andrew Luck.
I like
Just being back.
I like Indianapolis as well, but the only way they can win is if Indianapolis can stop Dak Prescott from throwing the ball to Amari Cooper. Because if they go off, then they're going to pretty much win this game. But other than that, I think Indianapolis will win.
All right. So, and then we have the Detroit Lions going to Buffalo after a very calm, not exciting win in Arizona. Detroit, obviously, they have to win all their games to keep their playoff hopes alive. Buffalo looked good against the Jets. Josh Allen looked good. But Detroit's run defense looked great against Arizona, and that's why, even though it's going to be cold, Detroit will win this game.
I mean, they have to win this game. I don't know how they couldn't. I mean, Buffalo's just having a pretty disappointing season. Even though Josh Allen
There you go.
is looking like a pretty good quarterback.
Wrong New York team, buddy.
Just too many New York teams, man. Everybody's the same name, but
Nah, that's
if they
what
can
people say
contain
about
him,
California.
if they can contain him, then I think Detroit can win this game.
Does this count as an upset?
Oh no.
Are you guys?
Oh yeah, because Buffalo is favored.
Yep.
You guys seeing an upset here?
It's pretty.
Yeah, but the spread's not that great. But
I mean, I'd still consider it an upset for Detroit.
interesting.
Kerryon Johnson, Matt Stafford,
Interesting.
Galladay.
If they all come back healthy.
No
Yeah,
offense
shit.
left if we had a flashback
If
to
they
like
all
week
stay
one. We were
healthy
talking
this
about Stafford, LeGarrette Blount, Kerryon Johnson, Golden Tate, Marvin Jones, Kenny Galladay,
Yeah.
and now it's just Stafford, Galladay. Yeah, but
If
It is
everybody
what it
comes
is.
back this week healthy, all of them. I mean, literally everybody on this team. With Ansah, he's out. They're gonna need him back. He's a big guy. He's a great blocker. He can do pretty much whatever.
If he's healthy, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got to come back.
oh yeah.
He comes back, they're gonna have this for sure. But I'm still going with Detroit.
All right, is that your upset?
Sure.
All right. All right, this one should be pretty easy. Just this one, we don't even have to talk about. Green Bay at Chicago.
I mean, Chicago's having a great season.
Chicago.
They beat the Rams like I said they would. I called it. I
Yeah,
said
you
the
got-
show.
you got me.
Don't at me.
You got me there.
But it's just their defense. Their defense is on point. They can possibly beat any team. I don't know how far they could go in playoffs, because playoffs is a completely different, pretty much atmosphere.
Is there? Oh yeah, it is.
So, but right now, Chicago can win this easily.
Oh yeah. Chicago. What he said, Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all I can really say.
Tennessee at New York, the Giants. After that thrashing in Washington, I like the Giants. Benny Fowler, way to go, buddy. Way to go. Touchdown. And Saquon. That was good.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. But I'm going with the Giants.
There was no Odell. Made up for it.
Yeah.
He wasn't there. Somebody else stepped up, filled that role.
And they could still make the playoffs if a lot of things go their way.
Oh,
But we're not
that
going
would
to get
take
into that.
quite a bit.
Yeah. But in terms of your pick,
I'm going with the Giants.
I'll go with the Giants.
all right. Washington at Jacksonville. This is like, But in terms of that, Jacksonville, I have to. This is not even entertaining.
It will be Jacksonville.
It's not gonna be entertaining. Both teams have pretty much a mess with injuries and just bad play of football. But I say Jacksonville.
Yep. All right. Arizona at Atlanta. Atlanta's -8.5. Atlanta. I gotta go with Matty Ice. Matty Ice, Tevin Coleman.
They need
Julio is finally back.
He shows
Yes.
up, but it's a
A
little
little bit late. Maybe he could do it a little bit earlier next year.
They need
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley to step up again, because last week he was not
Yeah,
good
he
against Green Bay.
disappeared.
If he comes
here
back-
and he just went away.
Pretty much.
It was once Julio
He was here-
came back.
And he's gone.
If both of them can work together, basically, and just catch a lot of
I
footballs.
mean, they can work together already, but it's
It's
more
just-
of like share the targets.
Yes, that's it. Atlanta could win this. I think they will.
Yeah.
Atlanta. All right.
And then we have the Seattle Seahawks coming off their victory, I believe it
On
was
Monday
against the Vikings.
on Monday
And
night.
then San Francisco
Coming off
the victory against
Denver.
the Denver Broncos. So when it comes to this,
Seattle.
yeah, I mean,
Seattle.
you guys talk trash about my Russell Wilson from the beginning of the year, but this is how he makes it up, even though it doesn't matter to me. He's still a good quarterback. I don't
Yeah.
know why everybody still talks trash, but
Yep.
Seattle's going to win this.
Seattle. All right, and then in America's game of the week, we have the New England Patriots going to Pittsburgh.
This is going to be a good game.
This is going to be a good game for New England alone because, you know what? Yeah, New England's going to win this game. They are frustrated. They are confused. They're just a mixed bag of emotions right now. They're going to come out on fire. They're just going to demolish Pittsburgh, just like the Chargers did to them at Heinz Field. The Chargers didn't demolish them, but the comeback was demolishing. That was bad.
You
It
can
was
never
bad.
sleep
It
on
was
Pittsburgh,
bad.
though.
But with the way Pittsburgh played, if they have Connor, if Connor's available to go, which I've been reading, he didn't practice. He didn't practice on Wednesday. He didn't practice on Thursday, but he still has a chance to play. I don't get it. If they have him, they have a chance. If not, they don't.
I think Pittsburgh could still win this, though, especially from last year when they should have won.
Jesse James.
Yes, should have won. You can never sleep on them. That's why they're my upset.
Oh, okay.
I'm liking Pittsburgh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's not my upset. Detroit's my upset.
Yep. All right. Here's my lock of the week: the Los Angeles Rams on Sunday Night Football.
Are we all locking this one?
No.
I'm locking this one.
You didn't?
No.
All right.
All right, and like the Rams are going to come back after that horrible game in Chicago where Goff threw 4 interceptions. That was just terrible.
That
We haven't seen
defense
Goff
was
play like that since his
amazing.
rookie year. So the Rams will come back. Philly's just a mess, and especially with Nick Foles starting against his former team.
Possibly starting.
Possibly starting against his former team, the St. Louis Rams, now Los Angeles. Yeah, the Rams are just going to roll at home on Sunday night.
Gurley's going crazy.
All right, Rams.
I still
done.
pick the Rams.
And then Monday night, the New Orleans Saints at Carolina. Here's my upset. Carolina.
Oh, man.
Carolina.
Really?
I like Carolina, even though they lost to Cleveland last week. Well, Cleveland's good. Cleveland's good. They're gonna be at home on Monday night because the party starts on Monday. They're at home against a very good NFC South champion. It won't matter, but for the sake of Carolina, they will win this game.
With this, it all just kind of started in the game at Detroit. Once they went for the 2 points, didn't get it. Everything was just downhill from that exact point. I don't know what.
That's a Panthers expert.
That could be some kind of butterfly effect. I don't know, but it just hasn't been the same. The defense has clicked,
It's okay.
but it hasn't
It's
just
okay.
kind of
It's okay.
hasn't been doing what it's been doing. Same thing with the offense.
It's okay. A lot of teams lost to Cleveland this year. A couple teams they've lost to Cleveland. It's okay.
5 teams
Yeah, that's okay.
and 1 tied.
Yeah, that's okay.
This
I still
was
don't get
your
why we do
upset
that.
game. This is my lock game for the New Orleans Saints. I mean,
Ooh.
they're the champions now.
Oh, we're gonna have
They're
a
gonna
long
show
talk
it
on
off in
Monday.
front of everybody. New Orleans is just gonna win.
It's gonna be
Alright.
a long day for you on Monday.
All right, let's go. Fantasy zone. I'm gonna do all the starts, and you're gonna do all the sits.
Let's start with your starts.
All right, I'm gonna do
See
all
how
the
this
starts
goes.
with all positions. You're gonna do all sits for all positions.
Sounds good.
Let's put it up on the screen, shall we? And start of the week is Jared Goff against Philly. Goff's coming off a massive stinker of -0.3
Horrible.
last week. If you're ever able to survive, however, I keep the California product in your starting lineup against the Rams. Defense has allowed 106.4 passer rating to home quarterbacks this year. Russell Wilson against the Niners, like you said, he's coming off a stink bomb last week.
Yeah,
But
they still won.
I like the rebound when he travels to the Bay fans to face the Niners. Expect him to have a rebound. Andrew Luck against the Cowboys. He's been one of the top quarterbacks in fantasy this year.
Oh yeah.
He has been great.
Oh yeah.
But now it's a top-notch start against the Cowboys defense. You know, the Cowboys defense has been bad, scoring 18 points, and Luck has averaged 25.2 fantasy points in his last 5 home games. Roethlisberger against New England. That might be a shocker, but he missed some time last week, even though he got put up 24 in about 2.5 quarters. But he's still about 20 points in a loss to the Raiders. I like him to produce in what should be a high-scoring game against the Patriots, who have about 14 touchdown passes, more of 21 points at home to quarterbacks this year. Lamar Jackson against Tampa. He's averaged 84 rushing yards and over 18 points per game as a starting quarterback in Baltimore. And this week's matchup against the Buccaneers is going to be a good chance, who have allowed almost 27 fantasy points per game on the road. You start Brady at Pittsburgh, and sleeper is Josh Allen against Detroit.
Ooh.
Start of the week for running backs is Philip Lindsay against Cleveland. He's been having an absolute fire start on the stat sheets. He has.
Oh yeah.
Scoring a combined 6 touchdowns over his last 4 games, while seeing 57% of the snaps in that time. That's great. Even though, saw him at the beginning of the year, it's like, who's Philip Lindsay? They got Royce Freeman.
Now who doesn't know Philip Lindsay?
And who knows who Royce Freeman is anymore?
Exactly.
Dalvin Cook against Miami. Really? Miami has a bad running defense. You guys, we all saw that on Sunday when New England ran against them for 2 touchdowns. So, Jalen Samuels against New England as a stardom if
He starts.
he's listed as a starting running back, you start him. If he's not, you bench him.
Exactly.
And you throw him back in James Conner. Derrick Henry against the Giants. Wow. Derrick Henry put up a lot last
We didn't
Thursday.
even talk about this. We
Phenomenal
didn't even
week.
talk about this. That was insane.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. 4 touchdown game. They were trying to give him his 5th, but they
He
couldn't do it.
wouldn't
He
take
couldn't
it.
get it.
He won't do.
In the last chance,
he
he couldn't
wouldn't
get
take
it. At first, but then when he tried to, he just couldn't do it.
He won't do that again this week. But the Giants have surrendered 10 rushing touchdowns this year.
That's why.
And finally, I get to say it again. Doug Martin against the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes.
Oh, no.
Doug Martin has dominated the touches in Oakland's backfield in the recent weeks, and he's scored a touchdown in each of his last 3 games. He's a viable flex starter against the Bengals, who have allowed an average of about 5 yards per rush, 6 touchdown runs, and a 5th most fantasy points to opposing running backs. Thank you for coming back. It's been so long. 2 years. Welcome back, Doug. Welcome back.
Long wait.
Start them. You start Nick Chubb at Denver, Justin Jackson at Kansas City. If, you start them anyways. You start Justin Jackson anyways the rest of the year if Melvin Gordon is not ready to go.
Yes.
And Jeff Wilson against Seattle. Brandon Cooks against Philly for receivers. He's been a disappointment the last 2 weeks, 15 and a half points in the 2 weeks. Keep faith in him. It's a great matchup against the Eagles. Is next on slate. It's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be good. Julian Edelman against Pittsburgh put up 19 and a half point PPR last week. So best stat line of the year.
He was on my bench. Oof, tears. But continue.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm expecting to put up a nice stat line when the Steelers or when the Patriots visit the Steelers, who have given up the most yards, 8 touchdowns, and the 3rd most fantasy points. Lockett, he always finds a way to score. Touchdown in every game. Always seems like it. So you start him. DJ Moore against the Saints. He's come out of nowhere.
Don't know.
Because
where he
Funk-
came from.
'cause
I
Funk-
like
Right
him.
when I drop him too.
Yep,
I like
that's the karma in fantasy. But because Funk just is not good, Cam Newton likes him more, especially with Greg Olsen out for the year.
Oh,
That
So it's okay. Start Ian Thomas for Carolina. He's gonna be good.
there you go.
And Dante Pettis, he's had a hot streak, 1 touchdown in 3 straight games, and 2 score performance in week 13. The Seahawks. So pick him up if he's available in 50% of NFL leagues. Maury Cooper at Indy, Jarvis Landry at Denver, Zay Jones against Detroit, and Deshaun Hamilton versus Cleveland. And I'm almost done here, Brian, so you can get to your sits. Jared Cook versus Cincinnati. He's been one of the best tight ends.
Oh,
Like I said last week, start him against Cincinnati. Their defense is terrible. Cameron Braid.
Hey.
Hey, he was good. 2
He had a good
touchdowns.
showing.
He had 12 yards, but 2 touchdowns. Even though you lost in your fantasy game, that's okay.
I didn't have Odell.
That's the red zone. That's the red zone goodness of Cameron Brate. Even though against the Baltimore defense, they've surrendered 6 touchdowns to tight ends. Njoku against Denver, he's been great.
Always.
He's been great ever since doing that Velcro touchdown. Austin Hooper against Arizona, and you got to make sure you start C.J. Uzma against Oakland. Ian Thomas, like I said, against the Saints. Vernon Davis against Jacksonville. Chris Herndon at Houston. Start of the week, I'm going to fly through the kickers. Kamari Fairbairn, he's against the Jets. He's been great. Like I said last week, he's been great.
Oh yeah.
Brent Maher against the Colts.
Also
That's
great.
going to be a good shootout game. Vinatieri against the
Yeah,
Cowboys. Ryan Suckup against the Giants. Mike Bagley at Kansas City. Started him for the rest of the year. Matt Prater at Buffalo. Finally, welcome back to the stardom sheet, Prater. McManus against Cleveland and Daniel Carlson at Cincinnati. And defenses, you start Baltimore against Tampa, Seattle against San Francisco, Houston against New York, Atlanta against Arizona, Minnesota against Miami, Los Angeles Rams against Philly, Jacksonville against Washington, and the New York Football Giants against the Tennessee Titans.
You have to start locked.
Woo.
You have to start locked.
Woo!
All right. Now for the better part of this, the sits. So you don't
Avoid
know.
So you don't. That's the good part.
That's the good part. Because
That's
if
the
you
good
start
part.
them, then they're gonna do bad, and you should have listened to me. So you should have sit them.
Oh, so it's like an I told you so moment.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Done.
exactly it.
Roger.
Quarterbacks. Sit Jameis Winston versus the Baltimore Ravens. Or if Fitzpatrick plays for some reason.
So sit any quarterback coming from the Bucks.
Exactly. Do you know why?
Right.
'Cause Baltimore's defense can be brutal. We've seen that a lot of times this year. And QBs put up a meager 76.5 passer rating and only allow 7 touchdowns. The Ravens have only allowed 7 touchdown passes. That's
Wow.
their amazing defense. And then you also sit Matt Ryan versus the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals have allowed the 3rd fewest touchdown passes this season, so, I mean, I don't know how, but they're just a sleeper defense. And then they've also allowed the 3rd fewest fantasy points to the position at quarterback. So,
Wow.
again, sleeper defense.
Wow.
Running backs. You have to start Marlon Mack. Sit. I'm sorry. This is the sit section. You have
Yeah,
to sit Marlon
I
Mack.
just covered that.
You have to sit Marlon Mack versus Dallas Cowboys because the Cowboys allow an average of just 3.6 yards per rush and runners about 7 fewest fantasy points. The 7th fewest fantasy points against Dallas. I am talking gibberish today.
Wow.
All you have to know is do not start Marlon Mack. Also, I know this is going to be a surprise, but don't start Sony Michel versus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Every other
That's-
offensive weapon except the runners, basically. Because the Steelers surrendered 3.8 yards per rush and the 6th fewest fantasy points to backs this season. And then also James Devlin, the touchdown machine of fullback. That's what New England was running. And then also James White. Just got to look out for also the other backs. James Devlin is just, I don't understand that. But, oh well, maybe I'll draft him next season.
Yeah, if we ever put fullbacks in our league, sure.
I'm going to make it happen. All right, wide receivers. You have to sit Kenny Galladay versus the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, Kenny.
He put up 2.5 points
Oh.
in last week's matchup, and
Oh.
that's his worst stat line since week 8. That's horrible.
Ugh.
And the Bills have allowed the 3rd fewest fantasy points to wide receivers this season. That's just not
That's-
looking like a good day for Kenny Galladay. And then, even though I said Calvin Ridley needs to come back, I would still sit him against Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
First off, like you said, Julio's back.
Yeah.
And then also, he only scored 2 fantasy points against the Packers. Again, horrible. And then the Cardinals have only allowed 5 touchdowns and the 4th fewest fantasy points for wide receivers. Whew, again,
Wow.
Arizona's a sleeper team. And then, tight ends. You sit Jimmy Graham versus the Bears. I think it's pretty safe to say that he's one of the biggest busts this season.
Yeah.
Just, oh my gosh. All the expectations just went away. And then, the Bears only allowed 9.8 fantasy points a game to tight ends. Along with Jimmy Graham being a stinker this season, it's just not looking good for him. And then you also sit Evan Ingram versus the Tennessee Titans.
Yep.
If Odell Beckham
Oh, no.
Jr.
Okay.
I can't talk. If Odell Beckham Jr. returns, Ingram won't see as much action. Because last week without him, he would put about
Well, they were
77 yards and a touchdown last
Well, they were
week.
just spreading the wealth. I mean, both Shepard scored, Benny Fowler scored, Saquon scored. They were just spreading it.
Because Odell wasn't there, exactly. But then also, guess what, guys?
What?
The Titans have not allowed a touchdown to a tight end this season.
Wow.
So it's not looking good at all for Evan Ingram.
Simultaneously, wow.
That's just, I know, that blew my mind away too. Defenses. You sit Pittsburgh versus the Patriots.
Good call.
Good call.
And then they only put up 6 fantasy points against the Raiders. Their defense did. Oh my gosh, for a Raiders team that's what, 3-10, 2-10,
Yeah.
3-10,
3-10.
horrible.
3-10.
And then opposing defenses average about 3.7 fantasy points per game versus Tom Brady this season. That's just not good. Not good at all. And then we talked about this earlier. You sit Green Bay's defense versus the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Opposing defenses average about 5.3 fantasy points per game versus Chicago, and going to fall back to earth because Green Bay had a pretty good stat line against Atlanta last week, but that will not continue against the Bears because the Bears are just they're just good.
Just good?
They're just good.
Just good?
They're very good. Okay, you got it there.
There we go.
All right,
Kickers.
last part.
Kickers. Run through them.
I've said this a lot, but you got to sit Mason Crosby.
We are running out of time.
And then Robbie Gould, he's just not looking good past 3 games, so I wouldn't trust him against Seattle either. So I would just, I feel bad for Crosby, but just having a bad year.
Yeah. So.
All right, and don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that little bell icon next to the subscribe button. Keep notified of all of our uploads and everything. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the Hot Seat Sports Star.
Make sure you go check out Moneyball Sportswear. Good, comfortable, cheap. It's nice. And we'll be back next week for one more show of 2018.
Wow.
So until then, keep it fresh. And Sam Martin, apologies. We ran out of time.